Welcome to The Proud Psychologist, the fortnightly podcast that focuses on how LGBTQ peeps can look after and nurture their mental health. Brought to you by me, Carol, an LGBTQ coaching psychologist and hypnotherapist. This podcast will help you learn as well as proactively tend to your mental health. Hello everyone, and welcome to the third episode of The Proud Psychologist. Today we're going to be looking at what stress does to you. Now, we are all human and we all know how it feels to be stressed, but how much do you actually know about what is going on in your body? Well, if you're anything like me, then actually before someone explains it to you, then you don't know anything about what it does. So yeah, it's really interesting how the body works with this, and I find that this topic actually helps remind us that stress is not just an emotional experience. It is one of the clearest ways of demonstrating that our mind affects our body and our body affects our mind. And no, I'm not using mind and brain interchangeably there. So the stress response is also known as the fight and flight response, and I know you understand that this is controlled by the nervous system. Your nervous system has different parts to it, and they do different things when you're experiencing stress. The central nervous system consists of your brain and spinal cord, while the peripheral nervous system makes up the rest and has two distinct parts to it as well. The parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. When you are acutely stressed and in a state of fight, flight, freeze, fawn, your sympathetic nervous system, from now on I'll just call it the SNS, has already kicked in. It stimulates the adrenal glands to release adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol into your bloodstream. Now, these are the stress hormones, okay? So the SNS stimulates the adrenal glands to release you stress hormones of adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. And these, in turn, increase your heart rate, the strength of the contractions of your heart, dilate your blood vessels, and speed up your breathing. Your muscles tense up to guard against pain and injury, as well as to make a speedy getaway. Your pupils dilate so that more light can enter your eyes and you can better detect danger. This may be accompanied by changes in your vision as well. Your hypothalamus, this is one of your brain structures, gets involved as well. And this stimulates the pituitary gland to signal to the adrenal glands to release cortisol and other glucocorticoids. Now these then go and convert glucose and fatty acids from your liver into energy. So they are how you get all the energy you need to fight or flee. Your gut is connected intimately to your brain. We don't quite fully understand it at the moment. This is all quite new and very complex. But yes, your appetite will likely change, and you can experience nausea, digestive discomfort, and even being sick when you're stressed, because your gut and your brain talk to each other, essentially. When the stressor has passed or been resolved, the parasympathetic nervous system will then kick in, and I will refer to this now as the PNS. It is often referred to as the rest and digest system because that's exactly what it does. So after the SNS activation of fight, flight, freeze, fawn, which disrupts digestion, then comes the PNS, rest and digest. So your pupils contract to their normal size and your vision, if it did change, goes back to normal. Your heart rate returns to normal, as does your blood pressure and the strength of your heart contractions. your blood vessels return to their normal size. Your adrenal glands will stop producing adrenaline and noradrenaline and cortisol. Your hypothalamus will then stop telling your pituitary glands to produce glucocorticoids. Your breathing goes back to normal, and yes, your gut settles again and you can relax. So everyone experiences this at various points in their lives. Just talking about it, I'm sure you're having memories of times when you were very stressed, you were totally going through that. Our bodies and our nervous systems are perfectly capable of handling this for short-term or momentary stress. So yes, this is adaptive. This is totally normal and actually totally desirable to have this. It keeps you safe, and yeah, it doesn't negatively affect you at all. It's just there to keep you safe. So, and that's great. That's all well and good. That's absolutely fantastic. We would not still be here if we didn't have the SNS fight, flight, freeze. But what happens when you're chronically stressed? When the stressor isn't momentary or short term? Or you just have loads of different stresses all the time. So as we've just talked about, the nervous system has an activation path with the SNS and a recovery rest path with the PNS. And they work perfectly well together to keep you alive, to keep you safe, to keep you ticking over. Now we're going to look at what actually happens when that stress is ongoing and the recovery is not able to happen. So you may remember you get tense muscles when you're in that fight, flight, freeze, fawn. But chronically tense muscles in your shoulders, neck, and upper back can cause headaches and migraines. Tense muscles can also cause other musculoskeletal pain throughout your body, but particularly in your lower back. And it's estimated that somewhere between 60 and 80% of adults in the developed world will experience low back pain at some point in their lives. So, how much of that do you reckon is going to be stress related, honestly? When combined with a lack of physical activity in general, chronic muscle tension can promote other long-term stress-related musculoskeletal problems. In fact, just having tense muscles over a long period of time can trigger reactions in the body and increase the likelihood of experiencing other stress-related problems. So it's not even that by having these chronically tense muscles, you're just going to fuck your muscles over and give yourself low back pain forever. No, it can actually trigger reactions that cause other problems. If your heart rate, levels of stress hormones, and blood pressure are high over a sustained period of time, you are at increased risk of hypertension, heart attack, and stroke. So this is obviously in relation to having the adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol in your body for, long periods of time. And yes, some of this increased risk may come from the contribution of chronic stress in the inflammation of blood vessels, particularly arteries. Your immune system suffers from prolonged stress as well. The glucocorticoids that the adrenal glands release, after being stimulated to by the hypothalamus via the pituitary gland, play a role in regulating the immune system and reducing inflammation. Both of these are useful in times of acute stress. However, chronic stress can impair the communication between the immune system and the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. Now, this kind of impairment has been linked to the development of problems with chronic fatigue, metabolic disorders like diabetes, depression, and immune disorders. Constant activation of the SNS also just results in wear and tear. Wear and tear on the body because of what that constant activation does to the other bodily systems. For one example, it is currently theorized, they're looking into it, that the constant activation of the nervous system like this leads to conditions such as fibromyalgia, a widespread and chronic pain condition which also has a range of other symptoms like cognitive difficulties. Now, it's, this is all like proper serious stuff. We really should not be glamorizing. Being stressed and being stressed all the time. And, we need to be looking at this kind of stuff and saying, oh, right, I understand. I need to build in some rest and digest time. It's not admirable to drive yourself into the ground. Bloody hell, I used to do that myself. I actually developed quite a pattern, because I knew that my energy wasn't infinite. So when I had energy, when I could make the effort and, go all out, go hell for leather and do all the things at work and then do all the things at home and then, have a social life and not sleep very well and not exercise and not eat very well, I thought I could do all of that. And actually I was quite stressed with it all. I thought I could do all that and just get away with it. In the end, no, I did not get away with it, and I am now managing a lifelong condition because of it. But yes, I would get into a pattern where I was doing all the things because I knew it wouldn't last. And then, when I started getting a bit more tired, a bit more stressed, whatever, I didn't pay any attention. I just kept going, because by that point I would have committed to a load of things. So I had to keep going, and then my body would eventually say, nope, you need to stop. And it really would stop me in my tracks. I would be unable to function for a whole week. A whole week I would be unable to function, and I would then inevitably get some energy back and recover a little bit, but I would be going back to work straight away as soon as I could. As soon as I could manage a shift, I would be going back. And yes, this cycle would take me 3 months from beginning to end, because it obviously took me time to get back up to full functioning level. So yeah, it's really not something to mess around with. And yeah, when clients come to me and say they want to just be rid of anxiety or just be rid of stress, they just want a peaceful life, I always remind them that anxiety is a normal emotion and the stress response is adaptive. They are innate, and frankly, they are required for normal human functioning. I tell them that I can help them develop the skills to manage their emotions better, and this does include shifting the scales more favourably towards the positive ones, like contentment, happiness, peace, and love. I even have ways to break the association between memories, experiences, items, etc., and emotions, which can be hugely beneficial when these are interfering with your ability to go about your life and succeed in your endeavours. Ethically, I could never bring myself to promise someone something like ridding them of basic emotions. Our emotions form an internal communication system, and each of them serves a purpose. The film Inside Out by Disney Pixar perfectly demonstrates this, and if you haven't watched it, I thoroughly recommend you check it out. It really does drive home the importance of all of your emotions, not just the desirable ones. And from my own personal experience, I know that learning to live with, manage, and listen to all of your emotions is so beneficial. It really is. I cannot stress it enough. So yeah, I'm going to stop there. Otherwise, I'll just keep rambling at you. So yes, that was an overview of what stress does to us, and I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you got something out of that. Please do remember to tune in again in 2 weeks' time for the next episode. Okay, take care.